Welcome to Rising Tides, the business podcast where we explore how business professionals across industries make waves and rise above the competition. Join Angela Merziff and myself, Kim Hayden, as we talk to inspiring business professionals from entrepreneurs to executives about the strategies and tactics they use to get ahead. From their failures to their successes, you'll get an inside look at what it takes to make it in the business world today. All righty. Hey, Angela.
Morning. What's
You
new?
oh
What's going on?
lots. I like every entrepreneur out there. There's always something new. It's always something new, not something that you always are going to share. But I have to tell you, I am super stoked because I'm a sucker for an accent. I'm just letting you know.
I
So if I
know.
sit here, if I stutter, folks, it's because our next guest has a wicked accent. But you know what? I grew up on Sean Connery, and I had like this huge, massive until he turned into Grandpa Connery. And then I'm like, oh, okay, maybe not as hot, but those 007s like do it for me
Something
every
about
time.
him, right?
Yeah. Now I'm not sure exactly where our next guest, Faris, is exactly from. However, he's got an accent, doesn't matter.
We'll ask him. Yeah.
All righty, folks, hang tight. Having spent over 20 years delivering strategic change for various businesses around the world, Faris has experienced firsthand the fine differences between success and failure. He came to realize that often what hinders institutions from achieving their goals isn't the quality of their ideas, it's their ability to engage effectively with others at all levels and remove the barriers in their way, aspects that he is an expert in. To build on his passion for this, Faris has set up this Shigeru, I hope I said that right, Shigeru Consulting in 2019 to help businesses and individuals improve their strategic effectiveness. On top of leading Shigeru, Faris is now an accomplished speaker, writer, and contributor for a variety of outlets. So, and just so you know, I just came off of a call because we're building a new website. I'm not a designer and I don't know anything about building a website. So I get frustrated really easy. So this is like
Take
the
it off,
best.
Kim.
This is the best. All right, folks. Welcome. How are you?
Hello. I'm good, thank you. And time to test drive the accent.
Yes.
Yeah.
So where are you calling from, Faris?
I'm calling you from London, England.
Ooh.
So we're in the downtown central London this afternoon. It is for us, and it's a pleasure to be with all your listeners wherever they are in the world.
Excellent. So London proper then.
London proper. Yeah, Dick Van Dyke, London. All right, apples and pears.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes. Unfortunately, Sean Connery. He's more from Scotland.
He's north of you.
He's
Yeah.
north.
Oh, is he from
Yeah.
Scotland? Oh,
Yeah.
I had no idea.
But,
He's
yeah.
See, I know that, but like I said, and this is okay. Forgive me, folks. I know, you know what? This is going to get us hate mail. I'm just letting everybody know. I totally get it. I waited tables in Vegas, and I couldn't tell an Aussie from a South African from an Englishman. And I found out that the English don't like to be confused with the Aussies by not getting a tip at a table. So now I'm glad I asked.
You learn the hard way. It's okay.
Yeah, I learned the hard way.
I'm cross-cultural. I'm of Palestinian roots, so I'm an immigrant into London anyway. So I'm happily rebrand myself. However, and if you're lucky, I'll be doing some accents just to keep you on your toes. So.
You did a pretty good Sean Connery there, so I was impressed.
Well, it's Wimbledon week here in London. We've got
right.
2 weeks, and there's a famous Sean Connery joke that goes with that, which is, what time does Sean Connery turn up to Wimbledon?
What is it? What's the
Tennis.
answer?
Tennis. Oh, tennis.
Oh.
Tennis. Okay.
There you go. Start with a terrible joke. We've got people hooked. They're like, we want more, but we're not here to tell jokes. Well, we might put some in, but we're here to talk.
We'll mix them in. Some cultural jokes for you folks this morning. Well, before we get into the meat of our interview here today, I'd love to learn more about your background, what got you into doing what you're doing today, and take us through that journey and that leads up to what you're doing today.
Yeah. Well, my journey is got lots of steps and stages. I'll give you a whistle-stop tour. I used to be started off out of the gate as a high school teacher. I used to teach internationally around the world, high school math and economics. And those were some great years. It took me to Latin America, it took me to South Asia, it took me to the Middle East, it took me back to the UK. And then from there, I hopped over into the world of business and I joined a large energy company and learned all about how businesses work and ended up in their strategy team. And I love strategy. I love making big decisions, helping companies work out which direction they should go into. And so from there, I moved into consulting, and so it wasn't just helping one company, I helped a variety of companies. And I did that for 12 years. And I must have helped about 150 different companies around the world work out what they should do. But you know what? During that time, where I was paid to be a big brain, I realized that 90% of the time, when you give them a way forward, they do absolutely nothing with it, right? Not because it's a bad idea, not because it's a bad strategy, but usually because they don't understand it, or there's politics going on, or they're just trying to do too much already. So they look at this nice report and they go, "Thanks, that was $5 million, but we're not going to do anything." So, and what a waste of ideas, talent, creativity, as well as time. So what I realized was, if I could help them kind of bridge that gap of getting an idea and landing an idea, then they would suddenly unlock so much potential. And actually, I was very good at that, thanks to all the skills I picked up as a teacher, and I
Mm.
built a business around that. And thankfully, although we had COVID in between, my business is flying. We've got some great customers around the world, and we do some amazing things to get teams to work better together and make better decisions.
Wow. From teacher to strategist to, connecting all those dots. That's amazing. I feel you. I love strategy as well. We're two peas in the same pod here on that one. But yeah, a same problem with clients. It's, how do you get the implementation done? They're so busy already. And so I'd love to hear more about that when we get into the meat of things, of how you've solved that challenge for clients and actually executing on that strategy. Because what's the point of having a strategy if it gets dusty on a shelf? It's not doing you any good, right?
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a
Yeah.
lot of dusty reports on shelves. Let's just put it that way.
Yes. I'm
So,
currently trying to solve that similar problem in my business, so it'll be interesting to hear more about that.
Wow.
okay,
Tim,
question for you. So, aside from the awesome accent,
Yeah.
I do want to go back a little bit to COVID here, because
Okay.
I know COVID shifted my entire business. It shifted everything for me. It also accelerated my learning curve
Yeah.
immensely when it comes to technology. I mean, I did deep dives into AI and all the different things, and you're talking to somebody who I really didn't even know how to. I didn't know how to access Google Drive when
Okay.
COVID started. That I'm dead serious, and
Yeah.
I'm not alone in this. A lot of people who
No,
work
no.
in corporate America or in a corporation never learn the tools that entrepreneurs have to work within, because they're working with internal systems, right?
Yeah.
So I want to know, aside from the awesome accent, what do you think makes your business, your approach
Yeah.
unique? Why are people engaging with you? Because I believe success leaves clues.
Success leaves clues. Yeah. Well, people engage with me because I strip it right back. I make it fun, simple, engaging. The same as I was taught to do in the classroom. How do you get an 11-year-old to embrace math when they hate math? Right? Don't make them let them forget they're in a classroom. Let them forget, let them play, let them have fun. Let them be the ones who drive. And you read and try stuff, but see if it's working. That's really at the heart of what I do. And me and my team, we flex our style, we read the room, we try stuff, we make it fun and
Mm.
engaging. And do you know what? It doesn't matter if you're a CEO in your 60s, you still like to be told things simply and in an engaging way, and then you'll get it a lot quicker. So I am not averse to using the same games I used to use in the classroom with C-suite individuals. And they often say to me, "Why are we about to do this?" And I'm like, "Trust me, we will break down barriers. We will get to places that you haven't a lot quicker." So I will play card games, Pokemon in the boardroom with people to get them to make decisions. I will get them to stand up, sit down. I'll get them to do kung fu with each other to break down and create more psychological safety, because it's all an aim of making better decisions So that's why people enjoy working with us, because they finally get it. They finally have fun.
Well, they
Yeah.
say take it to what, the 5th grade level?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 5th grade
Talk-
level, yeah. Because we all talk at a PhD level if we're any good at what we do. We talk at such a high level. And when you're trying to get other people up here, I mean, Angela, poor Angela Angela and I work well together, because as I'm running through the fields, finding all the potholes and stumbling, Angela's documenting and going, okay, this is the strategy.
Yeah.
I'm going, wait, and I've got all the burrs stuck to me. And
I got to reel you back in.
all
But yeah,
right.
we've forgotten how to be playful. Like we grow out of that, right? And there's value in that, and nobody wants to attend another boring workshop, right? It's not where we want to be. So if we can make it fun and engaging and still get the work done, then why not? Do you get a lot of pushback from execs on this? Like,
Oh, always. Like
at
I always
first,
say,
right?
there's two types of individuals. 10% have a growth mindset, want to learn, want to change. So they're great. You'll explain the techniques you're using on. The other 90% couldn't give a damn, right? They're like, I'm successful already. Why should I listen to you? Yeah. But you know what? Both sets have to buy into it, and both sets have to change. So I have a set of techniques for those who want to learn. Great. I'll coach you. I'll train you. But those who don't worry. I'm still going to change the process around you so that you fall into line, almost, right? And you play ball, and because everyone has a tell, everyone has a way they like to be talked to, and you can learn that within half an hour, right? Half an hour of asking the right questions, listening, you'll work out somebody's whiffins and whammies. Are those phrases you've heard before?
No, what's
A
that?
whiffim is what's in it for me, right? People will literally make what drives them, but they'll also tell you their whammies, things they hate, things that, don't you talk to me in that way. Don't show, don't you, send me emails in the morning, whatever. It'll be pretty clear. So as long as you avoid their whammies and play to their whiffins, people will play much nicer with you.
That's a quotable. Whiffums and whammies.
Whiffins
I
and
love it.
whammies. Your listeners are like, oh my God, he does accents, he does silly acronyms. Where's the guy gonna start?
And what does whammy stand for?
What's against my interests?
Oh, okay. I didn't know that one. What's against my interests? Interesting.
And right now, Angela's writing that all down, because that's
Yeah,
awesome.
I've got to look at that up. Whiffums and whammies.
Whiffins and whammies, right?
And I'm sure there's a mix in groups. So you've got to get everyone on the same page before you start your workshops. Is that the idea?
Yeah. So you have to read the room, and you might have to work with somebody one-on-one, give them a bit of love. But generally, and I say this to any people working, there are a set of things you can do for teams that will help them work better together. Okay. So number one, human beings work better together if they find they have something in common. So start a meeting with a simple exercise like go, right, you're in pairs. You have 3 minutes to find the most wackiest thing that you two have in common. There'll be a prize for the team that get the best, right? Then what you get is two human beings quickly going, right, what's your favorite food? What countries have you visited, right? They'll suddenly learn a lot more about each other. They'll find a thing, and then they'll be like, whether they know it or not, they'll work better together because they've just had that experience, right? And it takes 3 minutes at the start of a meeting. And people might look at you and go, this is stupid. Why are we doing this? Right? But as long as you get their permission, say, let's go with it. So that's one thing you can do. Number two, right? Try and limit things like the extroverts in the meeting. We're all there. We've all been in meetings where the extrovert is the person who talks the loud. Doesn't mean they have the best ideas, right? Doesn't mean they're the smartest person, but everyone follows them or everyone listens. And the people who are a bit quieter say, do you know what? I'm going to just shut up. So here's what you do. Get everyone's opinions before the meeting, particularly around strategy, right? Get them, you collate them, and then you anonymize them. So it's not Angela's idea. It's not Kim's idea. It's just idea number one, idea number two. Everyone has to read everyone's ideas and then rate the quality of the idea, not who it came from, right? It's a simple shift, right? So you can play around with the process around a team to negate some of their biases and their bad habits, right? As well as coaching them, and you'll instantly get a better decision made, right?
Yeah.
Now, I've got 100 of these techniques that I apply to teams, but fundamentally get them to know each other better, try and limit some of their biases. You will have a much better, more productive meeting.
Yeah, I can totally see that. And that's fun too, right? If you give them a time limit, have them try and find things that are in common with each other. That makes it fun. It just is a good opening mood for the rest of the workshop. It sets the tone, right?
Yeah.
That, okay, maybe there's something in it for me here too, and there's I'm gonna have some fun doing this. It's not gonna be another boring workshop. Um,
Yeah.
limit the extroverts in meetings. I've recently restructured my workshops to use. I don't know if you've heard of AJ and Smart and their workshopper method.
No, I haven't. No.
Possibly not. I
No.
think they're from the UK as well.
Okay.
But anyway, AJ and Smart, they have a whole book about design sprints and things like this. But so what goes on in their style of meeting is exactly what you said. It's more productive because they structure it in a way where we figure out what problem we want to solve, and then
Mhm.
everyone writes their ideas on sticky notes and posts them on the wall or the window or whatever. And then you have voting dots, or again, like what you talked about, they vote on the idea and nobody knows really who wrote what sticky unless you're paying close attention to who stuck the note on the wall, right?
Yeah.
Um, so you end up, with better ideas because nobody is censoring themselves or saying what they think others on the team want them to say, right? You're just writing your own ideas in your own space. Working together alone is the theme of their workshop. And I've tried this in an effort to limit the time of the meeting, and it works great, and it works really well, and everyone gets a voice because everyone's expected, to participate. And it's very obvious if you don't have any stickies to put up on the wall that you're not participating, right? So
Yeah.
everyone does it, and then we vote, quickly, and there's no chitter chatter and going off on rabbit trails. So it works really well. But I like your idea of starting it off with something fun like that, setting the tone.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's how my brain works. I look at everything like how can we make it more fun? How can we flip it? So it's a bit different because also if you're a senior executive, you're probably going to 10 meetings, 12 meetings a day, and they begin to blur, right? So
Oh,
if you've got
absolutely.
one that stands out, they will remember that meeting, they'll remember the decision they made in it. So it's more powerful and it's more beneficial.
It is, and it probably helps in implementation stage too, to kind of want to follow through with it because you're excited about the outcome of that workshop. So about your workshops, I
Yeah,
know on your website it talks about IQ, EQ, FQ. Can
yeah,
you quickly explain those and
yeah,
how
yeah,
those
yeah.
things play a role in business?
Yeah, so your strategy needs these three components, right? If you want to be
Okay.
successful and you have an idea of what you want to achieve, where you want to get to, first of all, you need IQ. You need the ideas to get you there. Have you got the best ideas? Have you tested them out, right? And so we help companies with IQ. And it's not saying you don't have smart, but are they the best ideas? Have you got everything from the group? Have you tested? We do a lot of wargaming and pre-mortems, which is we'll take your ideas and
Mm.
test them for you without you having to spend millions of dollars to actually launch the product or do, right? Then there's the EQ. Is everyone bought into it? Are you taking others on the journey, right? Because a great idea just from the boss, if nobody buys into it, is not going to go anywhere, right? So we help with the EQ and getting teams to work better together. And then the last bit is that this FQ, which many of your viewers probably wouldn't have heard of. It's focus quotient, right? You can have a great idea, you can have everyone bought in, but if they're too stretched or they can't dedicate enough of their focus to deliver it, it's not going to get over the line. And I see this time and time again when I go into companies. They tell me we're doing 100 strategic projects. I was like, that's an oxymoron. You can't have 100 things that are strategically important, right? You've got to have
Mhm.
5, you've got to have 10, right? And do them well rather than 100 things badly. So as a company, can you help them? And as an individual, can you limit your distractions to really focus and give your best on what you've been told is very important to deliver, or you believe is very important to deliver? So FQ is a missing ingredient. So we help with that as well.
The focus. Okay.
Good. Yeah.
So, yeah. So how can first of all, how do organizations understand that they might have issues in these areas? And then I guess the second part of the question is how can they start overcoming these things, and
Well,
what's the step-by-step plan?
self-awareness, reflection is a big part of it, right?
Mhm.
Being clear that there is a problem and a problem kind of implementing or getting either deciding strategy or implementing strategy. Now, it's not like someone knocks on your door and goes, the strategy is not working. People come to us when there's a problem in their business. So sometimes they come quite late in the day. They've tried other things, and they say, "Can you help?" And I can give you a great example of that, actually. A large consumer goods company. Now, they had a big problem with warehousing costs. So if you think about it, this company makes cosmetics, they make lots of shampoos, soaps, blah, blah, blah. And they were making too much every month. So they had to spend millions of dollars buying additional warehouse space. And they were like, why is this problem happening all the time? Maybe it's our forecast models. Let's invest in new models. So they spent millions buying new models. Didn't fix the problem. They thought maybe it's the processes we have in the firm. Maybe that's creating the problems. They brought in a process experts. Didn't fix the problem. Right? What they didn't realize until someone said is there's a key thing, the meeting that happens once a month in our company. It is where the supply chain team who do the forecasting meet with the sales team who do the selling of the product. And the meeting goes like this every month. It goes, the supply chain team come to the meeting and say, look, we've just run the numbers and we need to make 100 bottles of shampoo this month. And the sales guys will listen to it and go, 100? We're amazing salesmen. We can sell 1,000. Let's make 1,000. Right? And because the sales guys are very outgoing, confident, they make 1,000. They only sell 100. They've got to stockpile 900. This happens every month. And what then someone said is, can we fix that conversation? Can we fix that relationship? And that's when they came to us. We said, yeah, sure we can. Sure we can. And we're going to save you millions by fixing one simple conversation in your business. How many? And we did. We trained the supply chain guys to have a better conversation with the sales guys. And yeah, they didn't bring the number down to 100, but they brought it down to 120. Right. And that's millions of dollars for this company. And we said, what other conversations are broken in your company that are stopping your strategy, stopping you from being successful? Right? You don't need to buy systems. You don't need, right? Unlock the barriers that are standing in the way of your people, and you will have a much more successful company and strategy.
Yeah. Super important to have those, good conversations, effective conversations with everyone on your team. How many companies are at the point where they don't even know, they don't even know that that's the problem? Like, how many times do you have to come in and kind of pinpoint the problem with organizations first?
I'd say I'd love, it's about 90% of our clients.
Okay.
We have to help them identify what the problem is. And that's okay. That's what we're also here for. But obviously, if it was the other way, we'd have more people ringing our door, going, "Hey, help us!" But we're a startup. We're growing. The word gets out there, so it gives me confidence, and I'm more than happy to go in and help identify problems.
Start poking around. When you poke around at one thing, you inevitably find other things too. I'm sure that can be improved, and processes and efficiencies and whatnot. Okay, so let's say a company has, they know perhaps like this a warehousing organization, they had or this company, whoever it was, had this warehousing problem. They know that, they know where the problem is. They want to work with somebody like you. What can they expect as the process? Like, how can you break down some practical steps that you'll go through and how they can start solving some of these problems with your help?
So if we take that example, it starts with going in and meeting the individuals involved, right? As I said, try and understand their personalities, their whiffins, their whammies, right? So we meet with each of these individuals. We'll then suggest a solution. Does it involve some coaching? Does it involve facilitating that conversation to make it better? Obviously we could have stepped into that conversation every month, but that's not going to be a long-lasting solution. So what we chose was to do some coaching and training of the group who were feeling beat up, right? So we designed some bespoke training for them that involved actors, put them into those difficult situations and give them live feedback. Say, no, go again, right? We're going to try that conversation again. And so we teach them the theory, but a lot of what we do is very practical, because we can all sit in a classroom and read a book. If we're not actually out there practicing and reinforcing it, when it comes to doing the conversation on our own, we're going to find it very difficult. So that's what we do. That's how I make it very engaging, very interactive. It's not just me telling them, they're watching their peers have a go and learning from them as well, and say, hey, when you did that, that was amazing. Can I borrow that? Can I do that? So, and within 3 months, several training sessions, they were confident enough to go out and they didn't need our help anymore. So it's like watching your kid take their stabilizers off their bike. And not just that conversation, but their careers are going to be different because of that 3 months of training.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the idea of the practicality of it. The best business coaching I've been through, I had to do some role playing
Yeah.
with the coach, right? And it's super uncomfortable and weird at first, right? You have to pretend to be selling him or whatever we were doing. But I learned so much from that interaction because you can pause, understand what you did wrong, switch things up, make some corrections and go again, right? And the more you do that, the more confident you get in the process, and you can then apply it in real life, where you're not just trial running it every time in real life. So I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. And the science tells us, here's the thing, because you'll always get people in those situations say, I hate role plays, I hate this.
Yeah.
The science tells us, even if you hate it, you will get some value from it, right?
Yeah,
So
I
I
can
actually
see it.
say, do you know what? I don't care you hate it. You're still going to do it because you will benefit from it, and you won't appreciate it until further down the line, and you can hate me for it, right? You can look me up and in 2 years' time tell me what you'd really think of me, but I guarantee you,
Yeah.
you'll be better for it.
Sounds like you have to be a little bit of a hard ass in your workshops. That's great. I love it. And not only you learn something, but I think everyone around you watching you also learns, right? They can take
Yeah.
things away from that interaction as well.
Yeah.
What was I going to ask? Is there any kind of do you leave people with tools for upkeep, on this new thing they learned? Like, is there a maintenance schedule? Like, how does that
Yeah,
work?
yeah. So typically when we work with teams, we will leave them simple tools to use. We don't want to overload.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm 25 years, into a career. I have lots of folders of tools and things that I've never really reopened. So the simpler, the better, so that they can actually adapt it into their day-to-day life. And then the other thing we do is, we train that team for 3 months. But what is great is they bring me back like a year later to see how they're doing and give some top up or masterclass, because sometimes we can we either didn't get something or we moved to the next level, or we could do with a reminder. Most of the knowledge out there, many of us have already heard, but we just need a timely reminder to go, actually, I haven't been doing that, right? So a couple of simple tools, but it's more about the coming back and actually being interested and invested in their development. It's amazing if you ask somebody and show you actually care, that
Mhm.
you'll keep the light on for even longer.
Mhm. And then how do companies, weave this into their fabric so that, there's going to be new hires, companies change and shift and things move at the speed of light. So, that's another aspect. It's like when new people come on, how do you
Yeah.
then, they
Well,
weren't there at the workshop, then
they
what
weren't,
happens?
no. So it's
Yeah.
great for my business. That's a perpetual stream. But really, if you wanna make it sustainable, the old model of see one, do one, teach one, right? So the
Oh,
people you
love that.
trained, you then hold their hand so that they take the training next time, and then eventually they can become trainers, right? So they can
The
pass on the
teacher.
knowledge. And so, some of the most progressive firms I work with set up a center of excellence where the things you've taught
Mm.
these people, their own workforce move into that. And it's not a full-time role, but they're recognized as experts, and then they will go on to coach people in their business.
Mm. That's great. Um, as far as implementation goes, we talked earlier about
Yeah.
this. What are the challenges there? Because I have the same struggles and challenges. I'll present the strategy. It's great. It's good. We're going to run with it. But then, hey, Kim, but then, it doesn't, you check in and it's not happening, or it's only somewhat happening. How do you help your clients actually implement what
So
you've worked on together?
So just picking up on what you said, it all starts upstream, the creation of the
Yeah.
strategy, right? There's nothing worse than creating a strategy and dropping it on a bunch of people. They have to feel like they own it, that they co-created it, right? I often
Yeah.
talk about in the early days of the Apple store, Apple would purposely put the iPads at a 10-degree angle, because when people come in, the human brain doesn't like seeing something that's not aligned. So people reach out and correct it. And as soon as you've touched something, you feel like you're more likely to buy it, right? So instead of presenting a completed strategy, present one that's 10% wonky, right? Let them reach out, touch it, and feel like they created it. They're more likely then to go out passionately and say, do you know what? This is our strategy. This is what we need to do, right? As opposed to, I've just heard a talk from the CEO who spoke at me for an hour telling me what we should do. I helped create this, right? So I don't let people leave a room without them all being able to say the same strategy in about 20 words or less, or broadly the same thing. Because then I know they'll confidently walk out, and this is the senior leaders, they'll walk out saying the same thing with passion. And it's not about reading it off a slide, right? So it starts for me, get the buy-in early, get them co-creating it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And
I
you
love that.
said see one, do one,
Do one, teach one.
Yeah. See one, do one, teach one.
That's cool. That is, yeah. I loved what you said a little bit ago about, you said you put a 3-month on it, right?
Yeah.
And you just like, and when I hear talk like that, I believe that person actually can do something. When somebody comes in and says, oh, we're going to have to do this for a year or 2 years, whatever. I've always believed. So I had an editor from Ireland that I couldn't understand a word he said. So he's here in Canada. And we were interviewing for a new editor for a TV show that we're building out. And I had the 2 top picks, and it was kind of an intern position. And I gave them each an image. And this is going back before AI was everywhere. So this is back, we're talking 2014. And I said, wow me, right? Send it away. The one person comes back, and it was pretty much all the same stuff that I had seen before. And this young man from Ireland, who I couldn't understand any right? I couldn't understand anything, but he made the clouds move. He made the clouds move. That wowed me, because that was before a lot of that technology was readily available where any of us can make the clouds move, right?
Yeah.
But when I hired him, I said, my goal is that you get so good, I can't afford to hire you. And that's always been, and what's really fascinating is I look at the people that I've worked with, so many of those people have gone on to actually have incredible careers. And I think that is the sign of somebody who creates space
Yeah.
for other people to grow, for other people to go to their greatness.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing thing to do as a leader, as a human being. And it still brings a smile to my face, going right back, where the genesis of that, when I was a school teacher, the kids I taught 20 years ago are now senior professionals, and they look me up and they still call me Mr. Aranki. I'm like, you don't have to call me. We're not, oh, sir. I'm like, we're not back at school now. You're a partner in a law firm. You run a hedge fund, and it just gives you a warm glow that maybe it wasn't directly because of the algebra you taught them when they were 11, but you've definitely been a factor, and look at how far they've come, right? So that's the real extreme for me. And yeah, a lot of my clients today are the juniors I worked with 10 years ago, because they've gone on to great things and they remember me.
And it's a sign of EQ in a person, because if people in your circle are not cheering you on, they shouldn't be in your circle.
Yeah.
Right? If they're trying to squash you down and keep you under their thumb.
That's very true.
That's a them issue. That's a them issue. That's a them issue.
That's a good sign to get a better circle.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Or
square or a rectangle. Get whatever you need. It could be a party of one, but yeah. Faris, again, success leaves clues. And I know that there is so many great ideas and strategies within this singular 30 minutes.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to find you, connect with you, reach out with you, do you have anything that, like, is there a downloadable? Is there anything where they can get to know you a little bit better? Can you share all that with us?
I can. Now, I think the best places to find me is the company website. So my company, as you said, is sheerghetto.com. Now, for those geeks out there, sheerghetto is the Japanese word for a sharpening stone. So just like how you will use that to sharpen a knife, you use our company to sharpen your company. And the other place to find me that I spend a disproportionately large amount of time, because I have so much fun, is on LinkedIn. So come look for Faris Aranki. I think there's only one of me, and come say hello. You can also find my weekly blog on Medium, and some an insight into my life on Instagram. And so, yeah, please come and say hello. I love carrying on the conversation, and I have, like you said, I have loads of tips that I'm more than happy to share, and very much enjoy giving away.
Awesome. And that's the big thing. That's why I believe that podcasting and being in this space is the most powerful medium right now, because here's the cool things that are happening since the pandemic, as the podcast world is really being adopted unilaterally globally. We now have Web3 universities where, through edx.org, you can, this is not, I'm not paid by them or anything, but it is a really cool opportunity that if you have financial barriers or geographical barriers, you can still get an incredible university degree that will give you the strategies you need to go in whatever field you want to go into. Like, there's so many things changing and shifting, and having this conversation with you, Faris, is because the world has changed and shifted. And it doesn't matter if you're in Wichita, Kansas, or if you're in London, England. Business is business is business, and learning to do better business, the whammies and the whiffums, and figure it out, because it's all doable. It's all doable. Angela's got the IQ in spades. I'm the EQ, and then between the two of us, actually, I think Angela's got the FQ also. But I learned so much today.
Sounds like you just swore at me, Kim, but
Yeah, well,
FQ too.
FQU.
there's more than enough FQ to go around, ladies. It's fine. Spread it. And the good thing is you can increase your levels, so don't you worry.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, Faris, I can't thank you enough for sharing your time, because we know the time is valuable for those who are doing, creating, making differences. Angela, any final words?
I'm your company name Shiageto. I have a Japanese knife that I never sharpen because I'm afraid to sharpen it and wreck it. Maybe I need one of those Shiagetos, but no.
I'll tell you what, next podcast that I come on, we'll do a live sharpening of, because I also have a Japanese knife.
I've always needed to learn that, and I don't use that
job, but I will
knife
happily help.
because thank you, because I don't use this very fancy knife I have.
Well, and we'll have all the analogies to every motion and movement
Exactly,
of a Shigeto sharpening. And yes, okay, you heard it here,
Special.
folks. You heard it here. All right, folks. Until next time, you know what? Be good to yourself. That's all I can say, is be good to yourself. You deserve it. Show is sponsored by Be Bold Branding. For knockout brands that get you noticed, visit BeBoldBranding.ca and download your free Bold Brand Manifesto. Thank you for joining us here at Rising Tides, your business podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And you